What's up, everybody? I hope you're safe and healthy and happy and doing okay. Last week I gave you all the option on my Instagram, and if you don't follow me there, please go follow me. I post reels, I post all different kinds of pictures of shoes and all shoe content, and I even give you the ability to choose sometimes what this week's video will be. So that's what I did this past week. I gave you guys the option of a couple different shoes. Which do you want to see this week? And you picked, as I knew that you would, the Adidas Prime X Strung. Again, if you want the ability to have a say in the videos that I'm making, and if you want to just see more running shoe stuff, because who doesn't, please follow me. I'm trying to get to 10K and I have like 8,700 now, so we're doing pretty good. Anyways, so because you picked the Prime X Strung, I ran in the Prime X Strung. I have about 16 miles on this shoe, I think now. So we're gonna talk about what I think about it today. I don't know if some of you will like what I have to say, but oh well. In case some of you are like, what the heck is the Adidas Prime X Strung? It is their most cushioned shoe. It has literally 50 millimeters. I mean, this looks like a Spice Girls platform shoe. It has 50 millimeters of foam in the heel. So if you are an elite, which I know all of you who watch this channel are, you can't race in this. But for all of us plebes out there who are not elites, we can run in this and race in this if we so choose to. There's a lot that I want to cover about this shoe, so let's not waste any more time. Let's watch the running footage and then get to my first impressions of the Prime X Strung. Before we get started today, I do want to let you know that this shoe was given to me by Running Warehouse. I actually got it when I went to San Luis Obispo, so I've had it for quite a bit and quite frankly was intimidated to run in it because it is so wild of a shoe. But that being said, all of my opinions are my own. Adidas and Running Warehouse, they can't tell me what to say. They won't see this before you. All right, as always, let's start with the upper. So the upper is wild. I have never seen anything like this on any other running shoe. It's a one-piece strung upper, and as you can see, if you look at this material, it really does look like a bunch of little threads just kind of stuck together to create this piece, this upper piece. On the top, it feels really coarse, that material there, those strings, I guess, or threads. But on the inside, it's actually not uncomfortable. It is pretty breathable. There are some ventilation holes in that upper material that give you some air passing through. In the midfoot, you don't really have any extra structure, and the heel counter is also kind of flimsy, as you can see. Oh, and this thing just stuck up. So while we're on the topic of this thing sticking up here, this pull tab, the way that you're supposed to run with these shoes, I'm assuming, is with this piece down like this. Well, on one of my runs, this thing popped up like this, and I guess I didn't realize that while I was running, and it was annoying and irritating me a bit. It was towards the end of my run that I started to notice it. So I think that if I had continued to run in this shoe for a little bit longer, it would have started to cut up my Achilles a little bit. When it was folded down, I didn't have any problems, but I'll tell you that I had a lot of other problems with this upper. The first problem being that this is not true to size whatsoever. So this is a unisex shoe, and Adidas is saying that a men's 9.5 is equal to a women's 10.5, which is my size shoe. That's what I have here, and this is at least a half size too big. I'll try to take some video to show you what I mean, but I have a lot of room lengthwise in the forefoot of this shoe in that toe box. And not only that, but I have a ton of extra material on top, like volume wise. I can basically grab it. It's not something that I've experienced before in a running shoe. In terms of how like the midfoot area of this shoe fits, I have to really cinch down these laces to really get a fit around my midfoot that's gonna make me feel confident like I'm not falling off the platform, but we'll get to that later. I felt like the tongue on this upper was a tad short. I thought it could have come up a little bit more so that the laces were not so close to touching my ankle. I should mention that this upper is 3D printed, so that is a cool concept. And they melded these threads together to save weight and give you a really efficient upper. But to me, it compromised a lot of comfort and actual fit of the shoe. So I'm really not a fan of it. It did cause me some irritation, but I didn't have any blisters or hot spots. Overall, I think the concept is there, but it's not for me. But I will say I absolutely love the way that the shoe looks. I love this colorway specifically, and I think that the look of the threaded upper is super cool, but that's kind of where it ends. Now let's talk about what you've all been waiting for, the most interesting part of this shoe, I would assume, for most of you, and that is the midsole. And yes, like I said, we got 50 millimeters of it in the heel and 41.5 of it in the forefoot. But that's not all that this shoe has. Now, what Adidas is known for using in their super shoes are energy rods, rather than just like your traditional standard carbon plate that many other brands use. These energy rods kind of act as like the bones in your foot almost. They're kind of like spread out like this. And they basically help to give you a more efficient stride and propel you forward in your run. And not only do they have these carbon energy rods in the Prime X Strung, but they also have carbon energy blades directly below the energy rods. I believe that's supposed to aid with even more propulsion and give you a little bit of stability on the platform. And I believe there's also a carbon plate in the heel of the shoe to just add extra stability. In other super shoes out there, you sink a little bit into the midsole of the shoe. So rather than your foot just sitting right on top of the platform right here, you really sit more like in here, in like this area. So there's like a little bit of a wall of foam that comes up. Not in this shoe. In this shoe, it feels like you are sitting on top of this huge platform, and to me, that caused major stress about whether or not I was going to roll my ankle in a 50 millimeter shoe. I know they put technology in this shoe that we just talked about to make it feel a little bit more stable, but to me, it does not feel stable, especially on anything that is not a completely paved road. I did 2 different runs in the shoe. I did an 8-mile run at sort of like a steady pace, not really hard, not really easy, kind of in the middle there, to see what the shoe felt like on a regular run. And I also did a workout in the shoe, which was half-mile on at a tempo pace and half-mile off at a rest pace. I'm not kidding. The first 3 miles, my feet and my legs were honestly uncomfortable in this shoe. I wanted to take it off, and in fact, I did take an extra pair in case I didn't like this shoe to the park with me that day so that I could switch. I ended up not switching. My feet and my legs started to feel a little bit better after mile 3, but I mean, who wants that? After the 8-mile steady run, I honestly did not want to run in the shoe again, but I knew that I had to take it to a faster pace to see what it could do. So that's where the workout came in. So during my half-mile on, my tempo, which was from like 7:16 minute per mile to 7:07, I don't know, something along those lines. I never really got into a good groove with it either at fast pace. Like, it just felt unnatural. I was more concerned about where I was stepping and make sure I wasn't gonna like hurt myself in this thing. And I felt like I was trying to get this thing to turn over and really like help me move faster, and I just didn't feel like it was cooperating. Do I think people could run a marathon in this shoe? I mean, yeah, I do. If you enjoy it and you don't feel uncomfortable in it like I do, then I think you could absolutely run a marathon in it. But to be honest, I was super uncomfortable in the Prime X Strung, and I don't even think I'd run a half in it. I know that there are a lot of people who really like this shoe and have sung its praises for all different types of runs, but I just, midsole and upper wise, I don't think that it's really for me. And it might be because I don't have the best running stride in the world, but I'm assuming that a lot of other people out there who are just everyday runners who want to try this might not have the most efficient stride either. So do with that information what you will. Turning the Prime X Strung over, you have Continental rubber in the forefoot, some exposed Light Strike Pro in the midfoot, and then 2 pads of the Continental rubber again in the heel. My favorite part about this shoe, other than the look of it, is the outsole, and that's never the case. This Continental rubber is tacky, it's grippy, it just has a nice bite to it that makes you feel a little more confident when the whole rest of the shoe made me feel scared. There were points in both runs where I felt like it was almost like sticking to the pavement, but in a good way. I wish more outsole rubbers felt like this, and it's a nice thin layer that I think is gonna stay durable. I'm into this partnership, and I think they nailed the outsole. Now let's talk about the price of this shoe. On runningwarehouse.com, the Adidas Prime X Strung is $299.95 buckaroos. That's right, 300 bucks for this shoe. Nobody asked my opinion, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. The risk is not worth the reward, and it is not worth it at $300. There are so many other super shoes that you can get that will feel great, that will inspire confidence on the road, where you're not gonna be worried about your life flashing before your eyes when you roll your ankle somewhere. You get what I'm trying to say. It's not worth it, and at $300, it's just, no. There are plenty of other options out there that are less money and, in my opinion, better shoes. I feel like the Prime X Strung is a novelty. It's really cool to have. It's really cool to see, to have in your hands, to put on your foot. And I'm lucky and grateful that I was able to do that. But I just do not think that this is a practical shoe at all. If you want to check out this shoe anyway, by all means do so. I'll put a link in the description of this video so you can click that link, check it out, and pick up your own pair if you want to give it a go yourself and see how you like it. That is the beauty of running shoes, is that everyone has a different opinion, everyone has a different foot. So what doesn't work for me might be the best shoe you've ever tried. We don't know. Keep in mind that will be an affiliate link with Running Warehouse. However, that doesn't mean much for you. It just helps out my channel so I can keep making these videos on these crazy shoes like the Prime X Strung. As for my time with the Prime X Strung, it has come to an end. I do not think I will be running in this shoe anymore. I am again grateful that I was able to experience what a shoe like this is like to run in, but I got the experience, I understand it, and I'm good. Have you run in the Adidas Prime X Strung? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you curious about it? Let me know in the comments down below. I like hearing what you guys have to say about all these different shoes. Well, everyone, that concludes my first impressions of the Adidas Prime X Strung. If you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit the notifications bell so you can find out every time I upload a new video. Look at that. Look at that. I have another video for you next week, but in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like Heller. I'll see you next time. It is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. This is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. I mean, not what I mean, it really is, though. Like, I can't get over this. Look at that. I can't get over it. I never will. That upper, my goodness. Wow. Wow.